On the campaign trail, Democratic presidential candidates have made it very clear over the past couple of months, you do not deserve the right to defend yourself. They have bodyguards, you're paying for them. But when they get power, they're going to take your guns away.
Every candidate should pledge that they would support a ban and buyback of the 15 million assault weapons in our country.
We need a renewed assault weapons ban.
Ban the sale and distribution of assault weapons.
I'm also the only guy that got assault weapons banned, and the number of clips in a gun banned.
Universal background checks and a renewal of the assault weapons ban.
Assault weapons, that's a category they simply made up. By the way, it's a category of rifles that are used in a very small percentage of crimes and murders. But Democrats are telling you that these rifles have no value whatsoever for self-defense. One man knows differently. On Wednesday night in Marion County, Florida, 4 armed home invaders broke into the home of a 61-year-old man. One of the invaders was wearing a mask from a horror film. In Eric Swalwell's world, that homeowner would have been helpless while 4 criminals robbed him and possibly murdered him. But thankfully, that man lived in America instead, and he was able to defend himself. Using an AR-15, he killed 2 of the intruders. The other 2 were arrested. The homeowner was shot, but he is alive tonight thanks to his AR-15. Ryan Kleckner is a former Army Ranger sniper and a contributor at The Federalist. He joins us tonight. So, Ryan, I was confused by this story because I've been listening to Eric Swalwell, clearly an expert on firearms, who said that the AR-15 is useless as a home defense weapon. But here it was used for home defense. How did that happen?
Well, look, the AR-15 is so popular because it's low recoil, it's ergonomic, it's easy to use, and even some of the features that some of these anti-gunners want to attack, like the adjustable stock, that makes it safer and easier to use. That allows someone with a smaller frame to adjust it to fit them. It is a popular firearm for a reason.
Well, that's kind of the point. Maybe that's why they want to ban it. So, I mean, AR-15s, just to be totally clear, are not used in the overwhelming majority of murders and armed robberies in this country. Handguns are.
Look at FBI stats, Tucker. The FBI statistics show us that hammers are used more in violent crimes than all rifles, not just the subset of rifles that are AR-15s. You know, and even these things that we try to attack, like I mentioned before, the adjustable
hammer and nail,
the mag capacity, high-capacity magazines.
Yeah.
Thank God he had a high-capacity magazine. He had 4 armed attackers coming after him in his home. That's what he needed to be able to stay alive. You mentioned in Eric Swalwell's world. I'm glad we don't live in Joe Biden's world. Because if Joe Biden had his way, this man may not be alive. I don't know if you remember, but Joe Biden once said that all you need is a double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts out the door, and that's all you need to do. Well, I may not be very good at math, but my friend is, and he said that 2 barrels and 2 shotgun shells with 2 blasts outside of a window leaves you with 0 chance to protect yourself. Not only is it reckless and dangerous to be firing outside a window like Joe Biden would suggest, but if AR-15s were banned, this man may not be alive.
So is it a little weird to hear a guy who's surrounded by taxpayer-funded bodyguards telling you what you need to defend yourself?
Of course it is. I actually see the same argument with walls and guns and everything. It's good enough, you know, for them, but not for us. It's downright scary.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. So is there, do you think, any momentum for a ban on rifles like this? I mean,
I hope not. There seems to be in the Democratic candidates, but when they talk about renewing the assault weapons ban, they're hinting at the previous one we had. Remember, during the Clinton era, we had the assault weapons ban. I'd love to go back and show them the stats. That's when violent crime actually went up. In the middle of the assault weapons ban, violent crime was at its worst. Violent crime has steadily decreased ever since we stopped that ban. Why in the world would we go back to that? All we're going to do is remove people like this man's ability to defend himself.
So last question. I know I've asked you this before, but it's something that gnaws at me. There's no evidence that what they're proposing will make the country safer. None. And they know that. So why are they proposing it? What's the motive here?
I don't want to get conspiracy theorist on you, but we mentioned last time I was on here with you that whenever a politician tells you that you don't need guns is when you need guns, it makes me a little nervous. If this is clearly an ability for the man to protect himself, this is clearly an ability for what the Second Amendment was for, by the way. The AR-15, in my opinion, this might not be popular, it's the modern musket. The musket at the time when we had it, when the Second Amendment was written, that was a military-grade firearm. It's what was common, it's what was used, it's what people knew how to use and have in their homes. That's what the AR-15 is today, and trying to take it away, it flies in the face of the statistics that actually keep us safer. They're not being used in the majority of these crimes, and here's just one more example of a defensive gun use using an AR-15 that I'm glad he had.
Yeah, it's too much power. It's too much autonomy for them. They don't want citizens to make their own decisions, obviously. Ryan Klechter, great to see you tonight.
Thanks for having me on.